For decades, the weight loss industry has been built on a single rigid pillar, the equation: calories in versus calories out. We have been taught to view our bodies as simple calculators. If the numbers on the screen are lower than the numbers burned, the scale must go down. But if you're listening to this, you likely already know the frustrating truth. Your body is not a calculator. It is a complex, adaptive, and highly emotional biological system. When you spend your life obsessively counting every gram of fat or calorie of protein, you're performing a left brain analytical task to solve a right brain biological problem. You are attempting to use external math to override internal signals. This creates a disconnection that actually makes long-term weight loss nearly impossible. Today, we are going to introduce a pivot. We are moving away from the external ledger and toward a proprietary internal protocol, the Somatic Check In. This single skill allows you to bypass the math and go straight to the source of your metabolic regulation. By the end of this session, you will understand why your hunger isn't always what it seems, and how a 60-second check-in can do more for your waistline than a year of spreadsheets. The problem with external regulation. Why does calorie counting fail? It fails because it ignores interoception. Interoception is your brain's ability to sense the internal state of your body, your heartbeat, your breath, the tension in your gut, and most importantly, your true satiety signals. When we rely on calorie apps, we outsource our interoception to our phones. We stop asking, am I full? And start asking, do I have enough points left for this? This causes the interoceptive pathways in the brain to atrophy. Over time, you lose the ability to distinguish between biological hunger, emotional stress, and simple thirst. You become a stranger in your own skin, governed by a set of rules that don't account for your daily cortisol levels, your sleep quality, or your hormonal shifts. The Somatic Check-In is the process of reclaiming that internal map. It is the practice of neural reinhabitation. The vagus nerve, the information superhighway. To understand the Somatic Check-In, we have to look at the vagus nerve. This is the longest cranial nerve in your body, running from the brainstem all the way down to your abdomen. It is the primary information superhighway for the parasympathetic nervous system. About 80% of the fibers in the vagus nerve are afferent, meaning they carry information up from the body to the brain. When you feel butterflies in your stomach or a gut feeling, that is your vagus nerve talking. In a state of chronic stress or diet PTSD, the vagus nerve becomes toned down. The signal becomes fuzzy. Your brain can no longer accurately read the stretch receptors in your stomach that signal fullness. Instead, it relies on the hunger alarms triggered by the amygdala. The Somatic Check-In is essentially a vagal reset. It clears the static on the line so the brain can hear the body again. The 3 layers of hunger. Before we dive into the hack, we must categorize what you are actually feeling. Most people think hunger is a single sensation. In reality, it exists in 3 distinct biological layers. Homeostatic hunger. This is a true cellular need. Your blood glucose is dipping and your stomach is producing ghrelin. This hunger is patient. It grows slowly. Hedonic hunger. This is the brain-based hunger. It's triggered by the sight or smell of highly palatable foods, sugar, salt, and fat. It is an immediate dopamine spike. Somatic hunger, the ghost. This is a physical sensation that mimics hunger, but is actually a nervous system response to stress, boredom, or suppressed emotion. The Somatic Check-In is designed to filter these layers. It allows you to look at a craving and ask, Is this a cellular requirement or is this a nervous system alarm? The protocol, the 60-second somatic check-in. This is the core hack. This is what replaces the calorie counter. When you feel the urge to eat, especially if it feels sudden or urgent, you perform the following 3 steps before the food touches your lips. Step 1, the stillness anchor. Stop moving. For 10 seconds, simply exist in space. Close your eyes if possible. This pauses the action-reward loop of the basal ganglia. You are signaling to your brain that there is no emergency. Step 2, the vertical scan. Scan your body from the throat down to the pelvic floor. You are looking for a localized sensation. Is there a tightness in the throat? Often linked to unspoken stress or anxiety. Is there a flutter in the chest? Often linked to a cortisol spike or hurry sickness. Is there a hollow, gnawing feeling in the upper stomach? This is often where hedonic hunger or boredom hunger lives. Is there a heavy, rhythmic pulse in the lower abdomen? This is more likely to be true homeostatic hunger. Step 3, the labeling. Once you find the sensation, you label it. Not as hunger, but as a physical descriptor. I feel a cold tightness in my solar plexus. By labeling the sensation, you move the processing from the emotional amygdala to the prefrontal cortex. You have effectively turned an urge into data. The volume control of satiety. One of the most profound benefits of the somatic check-in is that it restores your satiety sensitivity. When you count calories, you eat until the portion is gone. When you use the somatic check-in, you eat until the internal volume reaches a specific resonance. True satiety isn't just a full stomach, it's a settling of the nervous system. As you eat, if you perform a mini check-in every 5 minutes, you will notice a specific moment where the pleasure of the food begins to decline. This is known as sensory-specific satiety. If you are disconnected, you will eat right past this signal and into the discomfort zone. If you are somatically present, you will find yourself naturally stopping, not because a calorie app told you to, but because the biological reward has been satisfied. Lowering the static, the role of biochemistry. If your nervous system is screaming, the somatic check-in is hard to hear. Imagine trying to listen to a whisper in the middle of a rock concert. If your body is depleted of key micronutrients, if your magnesium levels are tanked, or your B vitamins are exhausted from chronic stress, your nervous system will stay in a state of high alert. This creates so much biological static that you can't feel your satiety signals. This is why we focus so heavily on stabilizing the internal environment. You have to lower the volume of the rock concert before you can hear the whisper of your vagus nerve. To help you quiet that internal noise, we've compiled a very specific technical manual. It's called the 25 Natural Remedies Guide. This isn't a list of magic pills. It is a curated set of biological supports designed to lower your cortisol, stabilize your blood sugar, and essentially clear the line for your vagus nerve. When your biochemistry is stable, the somatic check-in becomes effortless. It's like upgrading the hardware so the software can run properly. You can find that guide linked in the description below. It's the foundational fix for the noise in your system. The boredom hunger illusion. Let's look at a practical application, the 3 p.m. boredom slump. Usually this is when people reach for caffeine or a sugary snack. They think they are hungry. But if you perform the somatic check-in during this slump, what do you actually find? Usually you find a sense of heaviness in the limbs and a fog in the forehead. This is a sign of a dropping metabolic rate or a lack of oxygen from shallow breathing, not a lack of calories. If you treat boredom slump with sugar, you create an insulin spike, followed by a crash, which then triggers real hunger later. You've created a problem to solve a sensation. By using the check-in, you recognize the fog and can solve it with a pattern interrupt, a 3-minute walk, a cold water splash, or a breathing exercise, rather than a 400-calorie mistake. Rewiring the reward system. The more you use the somatic check-in, the more you change your brain's predictive processing. Your brain is always trying to predict what you need next. If you have spent years predicting that stress equals chocolate, your brain will keep generating that craving. The somatic check-in acts as a glitch in the code. By stopping to check in, you are telling the brain, wait, let's reevaluate the data. Within 7 to 14 days of consistent check-ins, the brain begins to update its model. It stops defaulting to the hunger alarm and starts defaulting to the somatic scan. This is where the effort leaves the process. You aren't trying to lose weight anymore. You are simply operating with a more accurate internal map. The Math of Autonomy. People often ask, but what if I eat too much if I don't count? The reality is that your body has a far more sophisticated weight set point than any app. When you are somatically connected, your body naturally self-regulates. If you eat a larger meal at lunch because you were genuinely hungry, your vagus nerve will signal for a lighter dinner. This is called metabolic flexibility. Calorie counting keeps you metabolically rigid. It forces you to eat the same amount regardless of what your body actually did that day. The somatic check-in allows you to be metabolically fluid. You eat when the cells require, and you stop when the nervous system settles. Moving beyond the scale. The ultimate goal of the somatic check-in is to move you into a state of neural sovereignty. When you count calories, the authority is outside of you. The app is the boss. When you use the somatic check-in, you are the authority. This shift in power is what prevents the yo-yo effect. People quit diets because they get tired of being told what to do by a spreadsheet. You cannot quit a somatic check-in because it isn't a rule, it's a relationship. You are building a partnership with your biology. You are learning the language of the body. Closing the loop. The scale, the calorie app, and the measuring tape are all low-resolution tools. They tell you what happened, but they never tell you why. The somatic check-in is a high-resolution tool. It gives you the why in real time. It tells you that the hunger you feel is actually a need for rest. It tells you that the craving you have is actually a magnesium deficiency. If you are ready to stop being a slave to the math and start being the master of your metabolism, start today. Before your next meal, stop, anchor, scan, label, listen to the whisper of the vagus nerve before it has to become a scream. In our next deep dive, we're going to address a universal hurdle, the guilt-free cheat meal hack. We'll look at how to stop the weight gain spiral that usually follows a slip-up by using specific biological buffers. Until then, remember, your biology is the map, but your awareness is the driver. Like the video and subscribe or follow, and I'll see you in the next one.